Madam Speaker, like other members, I extend my sincere condolences to Margaret and Linford's family and his friends on this sad occasion. Now, I won't claim to know the severity of the grief they're going through, but I certainly pray you are comforted by the overwhelming support you have received from our local community. And I and some of my colleagues, including the members for Port Darwin, Fanny Bay and Goyder, witnessed this outpouring of sympathy when we attended an evening vigil last Thursday, where our community laid flowers and lit candles around a large tree adjacent to Linford's Nightcliff supermarket. Now, I rise to support these amendments as a means of ensuring that community safety is paramount when considering bail application for such serious offences. And before I go on, let me congratulate the opposition for indicating that they will support these amendments, notwithstanding that they may still have some reservations about certain provisions. Yes, it will be beneficial if this Assembly can act unanimously to address these important reforms to ensure that community safety is paramount. I know many in our community, including constituents in my Karama electorate, have expressed confusion and anger that this tragic death actually occurred, but also questioning why this alleged offender was even allowed to be on bail at all. Now, Madam Speaker, I am not a lawyer, and personally I'm very glad that I'm not. But let me share some of my thoughts from a layman's perspective, in a language that I hope people can easily understand. Let's go back to first principles. Under our system of government and our system of law, alleged offenders are innocent until proven guilty. I say again, innocent until proven guilty. And as part of our Australian democratic system and constitution, governmental authority is divided amongst three distinct branches, namely the legislature, being the parliament or the assembly, which makes laws, the executive, being the government, which administers laws and carries out the business of government, and the judiciary, being the courts, which interpret laws and resolves legal disputes. Now, this principle of separation of powers is designed to ensure that no single entity holds all power and prevents potential tyranny by allowing each branch to check the actions of others. So yes, we do rely on the judiciary to decide whether bail should be granted for such serious offences, taking into account a range of considerations and risks. However, unlike other jurisdictions, including New South Wales, my understanding is that the current NT bail legislation, while significantly strengthened last year by this government, does not at the moment explicitly say that community safety must be paramount when considering bail for serious and/or prescribed offences referred to in the proposed legislation. Madam Speaker, from my perspective, this is a no-brainer. We need to pass these amendments to add more clarity and strengthen Declan's law. I say Declan's law, which this Assembly passed on urgency last year, despite the vote against this bill by the opposition and the independents. So that is why I'm pleased that the opposition has indicated that common sense will finally prevail and they will support these amendments today. Finally, Madam Speaker, let me go back to our election commitment to reduce crime. I say again, reduce crime. While it is fair to say that when we came to government, we inherited an 8-year shit show of crime and antisocial behaviour occurring in an environment with no consequences for such bad behaviour, it is now our responsibility to fix it, our responsibility. And from day one, we have been moving on this, ensuring that we have a legislative framework that does bring real consequences, as evidenced by some 600 offenders, now more offenders behind bars, rather than out on the streets jeopardising community safety. But this is only the beginning, and I know that many other initiatives, including the establishment of boot camps, are underway. And we need to put an emphasis on people taking personal responsibilities for their own actions and parents taking responsibilities for their children's behaviour. This has been missing. Madam Speaker, we are committed to reducing crime. This will not be a straight linear decline, but a trend over time, especially as the implementation of our stronger legislative framework proceeds. But unfortunately, we will never eliminate crime completely, but reduce it, and putting community safety first drives all of us in this united 17-member government team. Now, as the member for Karama, I acknowledge that I have an electorate that has sadly over the last 8 years become a hotspot for crime and antisocial behaviour. And on the weekend, I was able to take the Chief Minister and the federal leader of the opposition to meet with local businesses and residents to hear firsthand about the impact of this crime and antisocial behaviour on their lives and their livelihoods. And many of these residents and businesses urged for a stronger police presence at Karama shops. As the Chief Minister and my colleagues know, I am a strong advocate for the establishment of a stronger police presence, including the 6-month trial of a mobile police caravan to be based at Karama shops. Over 2 years ago, a petition from almost 1,200 local residents for such a police presence was submitted to this Parliament, but was ignored by the then Labor government. This police presence was also part of our CLP election commitments for the Karama electorate at the last election. And whilst I know we are trying to deal with an inherited budget crisis, we need to stay focused on community safety. Now, very troubling for me is that on Monday evening at 7:40 p.m, a 17-year-old male was arrested for walking into the Karama bottle-o, threatening staff with an edge weapon and stealing money. I've spoken to the staff and checked on their welfare. Luckily, they just retreated and no one was physically injured. But coming so soon after the Nightcliff attack, you can understand the fear in our community. Those staff said whilst they sometimes see police during the day, they don't seem to see them at night when most of the troubles occur. They urged me to try and get a stronger police presence for Karama, and I made a commitment to them that I would raise their concerns directly in this Parliament. So I stand before this Assembly and my parliamentary colleagues, advocating on my behalf of my community to stop the talk, just do. Stop the talk and just do. Let's honour our commitment to trial a permanent police presence at Karama as soon as possible and strengthen community safety in our neighbourhood. Thank you very much.